the thing is.
Ma'am, I'm gonna change my device, so my name will be different next time. I'm leaving this from this device. This device has no charge and there is no electricity. I'm gonna change my mobile phone, ma'am.
Doesn't matter. So let us start with the example. Till now, what we have learned regarding the normal distribution, that how to work on the normal distribution that we have to go for today. So let's start with the PPT. Here we have to find out the probabilities for the general normal random variable. What we are saying, I think we have done this example. We have done with this example, but I remember. Let's start from this. Here we have an example. The weight of packages of ground beef are normally distributed with mean 1 pound and standard deviation 0.1. Better, can you listen to me? Actually, my phone is, I think, hanged. Your voice, you are getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me repeat what we have. The weights of packages of ground beef are normally distributed with mean 1 pound and standard deviation 0.01. So the first thing which is very clear about this is we are talking about normal distribution. It's given the things are normally distributed. The second thing is mean is given. Now mean is given for the weight of packages. It means what we have to write down mu. We have been provided with the mean is 1 pound and the standard deviation, the symbol for the standard deviation is sigma, so we have sigma as 0.10. Correct. Now next thing is, it is being asked for what is the probability that a randomly selected package weighed between this and this. Means it is just like a real situation that might be some packaging going on and some inspection has been ended, and we are looking for what is the probability that whatever package we are going to select has a weight between this to this. Correct? The mean is actually giving as 1 pound, but we are looking for the probability, that what is the chance, what is the probability that when we are selecting a random package, it weighs from 0.8 to 0.85. So this is how we have to write down. And as we have discussed here, greater than or greater than equal to sign, when we are putting, both are equally significant because it is a continuous type of thing. So actually we have to make a line and find out the area from 0.8 to 0.85. Correct. And what is given to us, it is specifically mentioned, given the area under Z is 0.4772. This is the value of Z given to us, and area under minus of 1.5 is 0.4332. So what it means, it just means that when we are looking for the Z distribution, then the area from 0 to Z, you can see their value is near about 5 and 0.5, sorry. We know that the total area under the curve is 1. On one of the side, on either of the side, it is 0.5. So here, if we are talking about ZS2, so we have been provided with this area 0.4772, and if we talk about minus of 1.5, it is area under minus of 1.5. So under 1.5 means here we have minus of 1.5 somewhere here on the negative side, and this is the area under means on this side. So this area has been provided to us. Okay, I think one student is coming. We are trying to connect. Let me see who is here. I'm not getting anybody, but I'm getting a message that somebody is trying to connect. Chaliye, whoever is this will come and join us. So what here we have is, in the first go, what we have to write down, we have to see what are the things given to us and how we are going for the area. Correct? Here if we talk about, we have been provided with a question that we have to find out the area from 0.8 to 0.85. do not look for the figure. First, we have to concentrate on this question. And whatever things we have noted down earlier is that this 1 is the value of the mean, and this standard deviation is sigma. Correct? This is the probability we are looking for. How we are going to calculate it? By converting this x to z. And how we are going to convert it? We have to take x minus mu by sigma as z. This is the formula known to me. So in place of x, I want to write down x minus mu by sigma. So here if it is 0.85, here we have x. So what I will do, I will take just 0.85 minus of mu. Mu means 1. So this is 0.85 minus of 1 divided by sigma. And what is sigma? The standard deviation is given to us. It is given to us as 0.1. So we will do this calculation. Similarly, here on the left hand side, if we see, we are converting x to z. So what the change is appearing over here? This 0.8 I have to take as such. This is our x value minus of mu. Mu means we have 1 and divided by sigma. Sigma is our 0.1. So by doing this calculation, what we are doing? We are converting x to z. So the whole calculation from x to z we are going to represent like this, and that we can see here is given by z lying from minus 2 to minus of 1.5. Correct? Now we have been provided with the values from 0 to 2 and under minus of 1.5. So what we are going to do, first we have to see which area we are looking for, because these are the given things. We have already discussed about these. Now we are looking for what we have to calculate. We have to calculate the probability when z going from minus 2 to minus of 1.5. So here in this curve, what we can see, we know that on the positive side of x-axis, we have positive values, and here we have the negative values. So if we draw this symmetrical line, we can take the values as minus 2 somewhere here. This is our minus 2 value, and this is our minus 1.5. Correct? So we have drawn two of the lines, and what we need this reddish area. This is what we are looking for. Now the thing is how to calculate. How to calculate means if I know the area from this 0 to minus 2, and we know the area from 0 to 1.5, then on subtracting the two we can get the value. Correct? Or if this area is known to me, this area is known to me, again on finding out the common one, I can find out the answer. So let's see how we have done. Here we have taken 0 to z. Okay, let me do one more thing in order to make it clarify. Here if we are writing out this one, it can be written as, again because we are doing first term the numerical, it can be written as minus 2 less than z less than 0. This we normally do. That let us break it, that minus 2 to 0 and plus 0 to minus of 1.5. ऐसे लिख सकते हैं ना. This is how we can write it down, the continuous interval into two parts. Correct? Now we know what is this. It is from minus 2 to 0. Minus 2 to 0 means the same area as we have from 0 to 2. So if we have to write down in the subjective one, we can't do directly. We have to write down this is same as 0 to 2 because of symmetricity. This can be written as 0 to 2. So if we write down this one, what this area is, it is probability of 0 to minus of 1.5. Now it is in negative, and 0 to minus of 1.5, but lying on this side, on the negative side, on the x-axis, this one. So here we can't go for the positive one. In order to make it positive, what I can take, minus probability of z from 0 to 1.5. Are you getting it? Why I have taken a negative sign? Because if we talk from 0 to 1.5, then it is on this side. correct? If I am talking from minus of 1.5 to 0, then it is on this side, this area. Here we are talking from 0 to 1.5, correct? So if I take the area from 0 to 2 and subtract the area from 0 to 1.5, or we can say directly, this is what we have written as such by opening the bracket, this one. Or we can say, if this is the area, this is the area from 0 to minus 2, 0.4772, and this area is from 0 to 1.5. Then on subtracting the two, I can get this red area, which is the required one, correct? So this is how we have to do, correct? Let us start with the next example. When we will do some numericals, then obviously you will get the clarity that what actually is going on, how we are looking at the areas. Here in this example, what we have, if the thermometers have an average reading of 0 degree and the standard deviation of 1. Now, whenever something is given where the mean 0 and standard deviation 1, what it actually depicts? Is there any need to convert x into z? Just think about it. Earlier what we said, that whenever we are working with the questions of the normal distribution, we have some mean and the standard deviation, and in order to solve it, we have to convert into the standard normal distribution. And standard normal distribution means with mean 0 and standard deviation 1, correct? So here if somebody is just going to focus upon actually what the question is, so here actually we are talking about mean 0 and standard deviation 1, means already we are working with the standard normal thing. Okay. So here we have a thermometer with the average reading of 0 degree and standard deviation of 1 degree for freezing water. And if one thermometer is randomly selected, what we have done, we have selected one thermometer and we are looking for the probability that at the freezing point, number one, I think 1 point is there, might be the other is also there. The first is reading is less than 1.58 degree. So when we are talking about reading is less than 1.5 degree, we have not to write on x here, and hope you are getting it. Why we are not writing on x here? Because it's already in z. And if suppose by mistake some student have written x, because normally we have to take x and we have to convert x into z, right? But suppose if you have written what is the probability that it is less than 1.58, you have written it like this, correct? Now how we can convert into z? By taking x minus mu by sigma, and we know this is our z, you know? So if we write on the same thing, it becomes 1.58 minus of mu. So we know mu is 0, so nothing is going to be subtract, divided by 1, so nothing is going to be changed, and we know x minus mu by sigma become z. So we will lead to the same thing. If we are getting this, that it is 0 and 1, means we are already talking about standard normal, then it's fine. If you have done this extra work, always doesn't matter, correct? So this is what we have. Okay, let me finish it and see who is giving me the message. Arjun is saying he is trying to connect. So let's just finish it this. So what we have is, we are looking for the area less than 1.58. So if we talk about less than 1.58 means, as we have discussed, less than 1.58 means this whole area which is colorful, and we know this half area is 0.5, correct? And how it is written, the area under 1.58. So this is just a style of saying something. The area under 1.58 means we are looking for the area from 0 to 1.58. So this area is given to me, which is 0.4429, this area from 0 to 1.58. And if I add this 0.5, the value of the half area lying on the left hand side, so what is the final answer? The final answer is 0.4429 plus 0.5. That gives me the value as 0.9429. Okay? This is how we are getting the answer. Again, I request you, it's not easy to go for again and again, and if I refresh it, I have to go for again presentation of the thing. Who else is there? Dheeraj is already joined. Arjun is saying. always be sure to come in time so that I can make you connect. And I think again he's not able to connect. I have refreshed the page. Let me share the screen also. I can't do that. Arjun is not able to join. Might be signals problem is here. So let us continue. So this is what we have done for the area from, or we can see not from, if it is less than 1.58. So z is less than 1.58 means we are looking for the area to the left of 1.58, and for calculating it we have 0.5 plus the area under the curve for 1.58. As a total we are getting 0.9429. Correct? Let's see the next example. Here we have the second part. Find the probability that it reads above 1.23. So above 1.23 means we are looking for greater than 1.23. Correct? Let me see if figure is here. Figure is not here. So if I have to draw it, if you are looking for above 1.23, so here this is what we have. Correct? And it is, I think it's given minus of 1.23. Minus of 1, it must be negative. Greater than 1.23 means we are talking about, here we have somewhere 1.23 in negative, and greater than this means we are talking about the area on the right hand side. So we are looking for the area which is lying on the right hand side of this minus of 1.23, and it is given that the area under 1.23 is 0.3907. So it means from 0 to 1.23, or it is same as 0 to minus of 1.23. So this area is given as 0.3907, and if you are looking for the whole area, so it will become 0.5 this area plus 0.3907, and as a total we are getting the area as 0.8907. Correct? So this is what we have as an answer for this probability. Correct? So here we have, okay, I think the examples we have taken is 3. First, we have just gone for the probability calculation just by showing without any statement that if mu and sigma is given, how you can find out the probability of x greater than 7. So there we have just done by converting x to z and look for an area that lies to the right of 1. Correct? So there we have taken the subtraction one. In the second example, what we have done, we are looking for the areas lying between two limits. So for that limits, we have subtracted the value and obtained the in-between area. For the next example, we have taken already the standard normal distribution where the mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. And then after we have taken then what is the probability that it is more than this or less than this. Here we have looked for area to the left hand side of 1.58, so it is just by adding 0.5 to the value of 0 to 1.58, and the next when it is greater than 1.2 minus of 1.23, we are looking for the area to the right of it. So when it is to the right of it, again we have the value and plus 0.5. Correct? So these are all the numericals for the normal distribution. And here we have some of the key concepts regarding to what continuous probability distribution is and what the normal probability distribution is. Correct? So here we see in the continuous probability distribution we have learned about the continuous random variables. The probability distribution we have learned, which is also known as a probability density function. Curves are always smooth. In continuous one, we are always getting the curves. Whenever we are talking about the area under the curve, then it actually represents the probability that x lying between the two values a to b. And if we talk about a particular value, because this is one of the simplest question that can be asked, or you can say the silly question that can be asked by the examiner, that if we are working in a continuous random variable, what is the probability that x is equal to some specific value? Here what we are saying in the B point, that the probability that x lying from A to B. Here what we are saying, probability that x is equal to some particular point. So when we are talking about, suppose here we have, when we are talking about particular point, we are not saying from 0 to something, you know? Because if I convert it into z also, I will get z is equal to something. Correct? So it cannot be fine because we are talking about a discrete type of point. So we are getting the area as 0. So that also you have to learn that whenever we are talking about a certain value and we are talking about a continuous random distribution, so actually the value will be 0. What other things we have learned is, if we talk about the normal probability distribution, it is symmetric about the mean and the standard deviation, sigma. If we talk about the standard normal one, then obviously it is also symmetric, but it has the mean 0 and standard deviation 1. Correct? And whenever we are converting from x to z, and we have this formula, z is equal to x minus mu by sigma, and then we have to use the tabulated values to find out the required probabilities. Correct? Now let me know if this is sufficient for you regarding the normal distribution, as some of the students were saying that you are learning this first time. But it doesn't matter, because whenever we are teaching in the class, because these are the notes that I used to take in the lectures of binomial Poisson and normal distribution. Some of the things I have added, like moment generating function and moments for you students. Otherwise, we used to take the same for the probability and stat course. Should we continue with the next topic? If you have some doubts, then let me know. Should we start with the next topic, or you need clarification of any of the things? Any doubts if you have? No doubts? Then should we continue?
Yes.
Okay, Shubham is saying yes. All others? Okay. So if you have some doubt, you can ask me now, or you're welcome to ask me at the NLPU Live, because there I will be able to answer you in detail also. So let us stop for the normal distribution, and let me think for that your third unit is complete, but yet it has to be practiced enough, because otherwise without practicing you will not be able to give the answers. If you are going to practice, then be sure to practice only those examples of the same type that we have learned, because there are some very complicated examples also lying in the books, but you have to not go for that. You have to just learn what normal distribution is, how we are going to convert the normal distribution to the standard normal curve, how to find out the area under the curve, and the properties. Okay, and the theory, if you are going for, we have the moment generating function and the moments, their values, and the properties of the moment generating function. So let us start with the sampling theory. This is our fourth unit, and in this unit what we are going to do is, we are aiming for the estimators actually. This is not named for the sampling theory. I have named it. The name according to your syllabus is estimators. Estimators and the maximum likelihood estimator. That is the main focus. But actually, when we are teaching this course now, then whenever we have gone to the estimators, we have to be very well equipped regarding the sampling. What is the meaning of the sampling? What are the other things related to it? And after that, we will be able to know about what estimators are, because the meaning will be very clear to you when we will estimate something. An estimation means we are calculating something for the sample and looking as an answer for the population. Correct? So that's why I have added some of the basics and named this as a basics for estimators. So let us start with the sampling theory. As such, if you will see, it is not in your course, but these are the basics. That's why we are learning estimators with the basics of the sampling, what samples are. So here we are going to start with the important definition. The first one is, what is the population? Here if we take an example, or we will discuss what population is. As in normal scenario, if we talk with, normally we talk about, okay, the population is going in the billions and billions, like this is what we know about the population. But in statistics, whenever we are talking about the population, so it actually express that we are talking about the large collection or the group of unit which is our interest. If we are looking for, suppose we are working on the women's in a society, we are running an NGOs, we are working there, and we are looking for what about the women's of the society. So it also make a population of the women. Others, suppose I'm working in an hospital, and in that hospital I'm looking for, suppose nowadays we are looking for that how many patients are suffering from the corona COVID-19, or how many patients are coming for the surgery related to some accident. So whenever we are looking for, again we are talking about some group of the things. So there we are talking about the population. Now from the population, what we can say about the sample. Sample means part of a population. If we are talking about a whole thing, that is a population. When we are going to investigate, because it's never possible, suppose I'm looking for the um, women in a society, that what about the culture, or what about the job scenarios of the women in a society, how many are um, homemakers, how many are working outside doing jobs, so how many is employed. So there we can't go to each and every woman, it's not possible. Suppose I'm living in Jalandhar, if I'm going to do a survey of the women's in Jalandhar, that how they are working. Are they working from home nowadays? Are they going outside? Are they homemakers? What about? But still, Jalandhar I have said, but it's not possible to go to each and every colony, each and every uh, where women are living. It's not possible. So what we will choose a particular area, a residential area, some of the areas near about some factories, and then we will find out, we will investigate how many women are actually working, or they are sitting at their home. Correct. It means whenever we are investigating about a population, we have to take an out a sample. So it is a part of population. For example, here we have taken population as all women in the society, and here we are saying a sample as a group of women of society aged between 20 to 35. Might be depending upon the scenario what we are looking for. A group of women falling in a particular age could be the criteria we are looking for sampling. Correct. Similarly, if we talk about patients of an hospital, then obviously a lot of patients are there in the hospital, and if you are looking for a particular disease, that how many patients are suffering from this particular disease, suppose COVID-19, if we talk about nowadays, our government is also emphasizing on the beds should be moved, doctor should be there, each and every facility should be provided. So we are taking just a sample, and we know that whenever some minister is visiting in a hospital, it's not possible that he or she is going to each and every ward. No, no, it's only possible to visit one or two and make out that which type of services are being going on. So here it constitutes a sample. And if we talk about a unit, unit means smallest object that can be investigated. Smallest object means if you're talking about the women's, you know, obviously we have taken the broad one as women, then we have squeezed as a sample, we have taken the women of a society aged from 20 to 35. But actually when we have to talk to them, what we have to do, we have to talk to a particular woman, and then we will write the survey what are we are looking for, their situations. So that makes a unit. Similarly, if we are talking about the patients in a hospital, patients of a hospital is a population. If we have taken out some patients of a particular disease, that make a sample, and if we have talked to and getting the information of a particular patient, so that makes a unit. Correct? regarding the population, what we means by a sample and a single unit. Steady. Now, the things that are related to the population is the one more important is sample. From population, we are taking out the sample. Now, this is regarding the discussion, what we have discussed. But if we have to go
सर
further,
हैशटैग सर कंप्रेस करना सर.
हिमांशु बंद करिए स्पीकर बेटा. आप कहाँ पे सर करते रहते हैं? You are learning more than one thing at the same time. Here we are saying that when we are working in all these things, then discussion can be made regarding population, sample, and unit. But when we are doing statistical work of the calculation and the analysis, what we need is we are calculating something for the population, correct? And we are for calculating that something of a population, we need a sample, and we are analyzing some of the things from the sample. Right. So here now we are going to give them the name. Whenever we are taking something, some calculation is being done for a particular characteristic of a population. That particular thing is known as a parameter. Correct. It is a numerical measure which describe the characteristic of the population. And what we are doing, we can't go to the whole population. So what we are doing, we are taking a sample and the numerical measurement that describe the characteristic of a sample is known as statistic. So these are the two new words and they are very important regarding estimators, because without these things knowledge we can't go to the next step. So here we are talking about, suppose here we have the whole population, we can't go to the whole population, so what we have done, we have taken out a sample, we are investigating a part of the population. Here if we talk about, suppose I want to calculate mean of something, and we know the mean of something is represented by mu when we are talking about the population. So what we have to do, we have taken out the sample, we have calculated the mean which is represented by x bar, and this is going to tell me about the whole population mean. It means this x bar is our statistic which we have calculated from the sample. From this we are going to find out something for the population. So what is this? This is our parameter. Okay, let me give you an example. Suppose I want to find out the salary of industrialist, correct? What about the turnover of the industrialists, how much they are earning? So a lot of industrialists are there in Jalandhar. There are lots of industries, food industry is at the boom, correct? So obviously I again have no contacts with them. If I have to survey, if you have to survey, what you will do, you will choose some of the selected industries, you will visit there, and might be they are going to tell you or not, or how you are going to see, it's another thing. Might be, let us say we are aware of now about their salaries, their turnovers. Then what we will do, we will estimate an average salary or the turnover of the industrialist from the sample that we have investigated. And from this we are just going to assume, make an assumption that if this is the salary package or the turnover of the industrialist lying in this particular area or what we have chosen, then similar could be the behavior of all other one. Now it's not true actually, but yes, this is the way how we analyze the thing. When we can't go to the whole population, we take out the sample. From the sample we are taking the statistic, and this statistic is going to find out the things regarding the population known as parameter. Hope so you're getting the difference between what a parameter is, what a statistic is. If it is clear, that the next thing we are going to learn is random sample. Till now we have learned regarding random variable, that we have already covered, random variable, probability distributions. Now we are saying random sample. What do you mean by random sample? Random sample means a sample that has been chosen from the population such that each element has equal opportunity of being selected in the sample. Suppose here we have near about 24 students in my class. I want to take the feedback of some of the students Then what I will do arbitrarily, I will take some of the roll numbers and I will ask them, I will talk to them, I will call them, and I will note down their feedback. So if I am doing something intentionally, that is not random. If I know that these students will give me a good feedback and I am calling only those students, correct? So that is not random. Random means all of the students have equal opportunity of being selected, correct? So for that there are a lot of ways to do that. First, we know that there are roll number 1 to 23, so I will create a chits. I can put in a box and I will ask one of my kid that okay, take out one or two, three slips and give it to me. And whoever number is appearing over there, I can count them, correct? Or I can use Excel. I can generate a random list, and whoever the numbers are falling from 1 to 23, I can call them. So there are a lot many ways, but whenever we are talking about the sampling, normally we go for the random sampling. Correct. So this is the meaning of random sample, in which each element has an equal opportunity of being selected. Correct. So here we have the same thing being shown, that it can be generated with the help of a system. Or we have a command rand, and using this command on the Excel sheet we can generate the random numbers lying in a certain range. From there we can select, or we can take out a pot, put all the slips of a different numbers and take out any one of them. Anyone means how many are required, right? So these make a random sample. Okay, here we have, I think, variables that we have already studied. Let me skip this just by going through it. Variable, we have already learned. Random variable, what a variable is. Variable means a characteristic that can take different value. It can be classified either discrete or continuous. So already we have studied it, correct? So let's come to the main part, sampling. What sampling is? It is a procedure of selecting a sample from the population and estimating the parameter of population from the statistic of sample. So this is what I have discussed regarding that whenever we have to do something, we have to investigate something for the population. We can't go to the whole population. So what we are doing, we are selecting a sample from the population and we are estimating the parameter of population from the statistic of sample. So here you can see, first time we are looking for the name estimating. Means what we are doing, we are estimating the parameter of a population from the statistic of some sample. We have calculated something from sample and using it we are estimating something, some parameter of the population. So this is known as a sampling. The next we have is sampling distribution of mean. What is the meaning of sampling distribution of mean? Here we are saying that if we have all samples having sample size n taken from the population, let me take, we have a population and we have taken different samples has been taken. Might be if we are talking about, suppose as we have taken earlier, that we are talking about the height of the students or the height of graduate students studying in LPU. So whatever the LPU graduate student are, they will make a population in this case, right? And if we are going to find out the samples, then we can take the samples of size n from your class, from other class, from other class. We can take a sample of size n. Right? What I can do, we are looking for the average height of the students. So in order to go for that, let me do first time. Then let me calculate the mean height of the student of this class, mean height of student of this class, this class, this class, and this class. So what we have done, I have calculated for the first sample the mean, that will x1 bar. For the second sample, we have calculated x2 bar, x3 bar, and xk bar. So what I'm getting? I'm getting 5 values. So finally, if I have to estimate something regarding the population, this whole population, we have not gone to the whole population, but we have taken 5 class, some students from each class, we have taken their heights, calculated the average height, and now by finding out average of these averages, what we are getting is known as a mean of sampling distribution. Correct? So this is what we can do, summation of xi divided by k. Summation of xi cap means the mean of all samples divided by the total number of samples. Correct? This is what we know as the sampling distribution of mean. Now, what are the properties for the sampling distribution? That whenever we are working with the sampling, then the sample statistic tend to the target value of the population parameter. This is our intention. We are calculating something for sample and we are looking something for the population parameter. Correct? And under certain condition, the distribution of sample mean can be approximated by normal distribution. It is taken as a condition that whenever we are looking for something like sampling, now we have to estimate something. The best way is we have to assume, we have to take the condition so that the distribution is a normal distribution. Normal distribution means everything is going on fine. There is no skewness, there is no pickedness. The data is just uniformly distributed. So these are the
मैम जो भी मैम यहाँ पे सैम्पलिंग वाले उसमें है मैम, उसमें हम कोई सा भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन यूज कर सकते हैं या सिर्फ नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ओनली?
Whenever we are going for the sampling now, there is a condition कि sample आपका normally distributed होना चाहिए. If it is not so, then what we will do is we will increase the sample size, because it is correct that we can't go to each and every value. So what we actually do, we will take more and more values, and whenever n is going to be infinity, wherever the situation is, it is automatically going to the normal distribution. Correct? Okay, one more thing, as Himanshu is saying, we have already learned that binomial distribution is leading to the Poisson distribution.
Yes, ma'am.
We have learned that when n is very large and p is very small, it will lead to the Poisson distribution. And similarly, when n is actually very large, as n is going to infinity, that binomial distribution is approaching to normal distribution also. So these three are actually interconnected. So whenever we are doing sampling, it is our intention that whatever the things are, the sample size should be large so that automatically the conditions of normal distribution will be fulfilled. Correct? Okay. Now I'm not going to start with this example because this example will take time. Let me see what the next part we are left with. Here we have done with the sampling distribution we have just learned. Then we have an example. This example I will take so that we will have some idea. Okay, we will cover the whole, because from here we are going to discuss regarding the inferences. And if we talk about inferences, we have the two things as unit 4 and 5th that will come under this type of inferences. For unit 4 we have the estimations, unit 5 is hypothesis testing, and then after we have correlation and regression. So this is the part of your coming syllabus. Correct? So let us stop for the time being because it's a example which will take time, and according to me, it is not a part of your course. Whatever we have discussed regarding the whole sampling, it's not written over there in your course that we have to go for it. But in order to start with the things, we must know about what parameter is, what sampling is. That's why I've started with the sampling. Okay. So tomorrow we will go through, because already we have covered this. Tomorrow we will just go through one example, and after that we have some of the definition which will be required in the whole 5th unit also when we are going for the hypothesis testing, and then after we have the theoretical definitions also. Okay. So let me stop, and tomorrow we will start with this slide. If you have some doubt, ask me.